Sisters of the light, mothers of creation, the time of awakening is upon us. And the ancestors have been watching.
They rise again.
Alafia, peace and blessings. Peace to the tribes, peace to the clans. How's everybody doing tonight? How are you doing, Miss Candace?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Man, I can't complain. I'm happy to have you here tonight. For a couple of different reasons. But one, tonight it's Matriarch Monday, and we always try to shine light on different guidances or things that's needed in the community. Because are you familiar with the Matriarch?
A little bit, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Well, one of the most for us from the outside looking in, one of the most important things about the Matriarch is doulas and healers and things of that nature. And you guys are a doula, are you not?
Yes, I am. I wear many hats. I'm a doula, childbirth educator, herbalist, placenta encapsulator.
Okay, so let's talk about it a little bit tonight because also, where are you from?
Mississippi.
Mississippi, not one of the mound builders, huh? Okay. And where you stay at right now?
So currently I'm in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Okay. I know a brother out there now. I want to say young elders out there in that area. So yeah, that's gonna be kind of amazing. And we're gonna shine some light on this doula thing tonight. So before anything else, tell me, can you explain to me what is a doula and what is the responsibilities of a doula?
Yeah, so a doula is a trained professional that provides emotional, physical, and educational support to people at different phases of their life. So most people are familiar with birth and postpartum doulas, but there's things such as fertility doulas, pregnancy loss, and miscarriage doulas. There's also end-of-life doulas. So it covers a wide range of I guess the full spectrum of life. You can have a doula pretty much at any point.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And by you being in a place like Mississippi, tell me about that. Because I know Mississippi, I know that's kind of a hard. I know a lot of people say how I saw a meme one day on social media, but it hit real close to home because everybody was feeling it. They say that the doctors and the hospital are to black women what the police are to black men.
Yes.
So when we talk about childbirth and everything else, why is it so important to have a doula or somebody of that nature when it comes to the black community, indigenous community in general?
Yeah, so doulas are so important, and doulas are not a new thing. Doulas are somebody that have been around since the beginning of time. From the beginning, it has been moms and aunts and sisters and cousins that have played the role as doulas. But now, as of recently, we have become more, I guess, streamlined for the medical system. And it's important for Black and Indigenous people to have doulas because we are disproportionately affected when it comes to maternal mortality, infant mortality, and we're just not treated in the hospital setting. So that's why it's important to have doulas, to have somebody there that kind of advocates for you. So I'm speaking from the perspective of a birth and postpartum doula. So it's just good to have somebody there with you in the hospital to be able to advocate for you, provide emotional support for you, to be able to recommend different positions and different laboring techniques and things like that. But a lot of the work that happens with the doula really happens at the forefront during the pregnancy, where I do a lot of educating the mom and her partner as well, because it's important for them both to have the knowledge that I have. I always say I want to give my clients that I have the knowledge that I have so that they can go into the hospital. And basically it's like, you don't even need me there because all of the knowledge that I have, I've given that woman and her partner beforehand. So that's really why it's important to, have a doula with you in the hospital. but being in Mississippi is a very unique thing because in Mississippi, we have the highest maternal and infant mortality rates in the whole nation. And so what that means is more, especially Black and Indigenous moms are dying and their babies are dying more than anywhere else. And honestly, we have the highest rate. So the United States has the highest infant and maternal mortality rates in all of the Western society. And so with Mississippi being the worst in the United States, you can say Mississippi has the worst out of all of the westernized society. So it's you know, it's an interesting thing because a lot of states have progressed a lot when it comes to doula work. Like for instance, me being in Louisiana, they have a doula registry. They have where doulas are now being reimbursed by Medicaid, and so legislation has been passed in order to allow women to have doulas to be at their births and stuff at no cost to them. It's all reimbursed through Medicaid. And in Mississippi is unique because that's not the case. So you have a lot of areas that are maternal health deserts. So especially if anybody's familiar with Mississippi, the Delta, so like the northern part of the state, and even some parts of like Pine Belt and kind of in the in-between area. So not all the way like South Haven, close to Memphis, not Jackson, not Gulfport, but those in-between regions have a lot of maternal health deserts. And what that is there's not a hospital that is close by. So a lot of these moms are having to travel upwards 2.5 hours to get to the closest hospital to be able to deliver their babies. And so that becomes an issue because you don't have any type of obstetric care. And so really the answer to a lot of what's happening with the shutting down of the hospitals is having more doulas and more midwives in those areas to kind of bridge the gaps.
Yes, ma'am. And we got some people that's watching right now. They were supposed to be on tonight. I'm not sure what's going on. But if you have the link, you're still able to come in. We wanted everybody to come in tonight. It's not no big eyes, little U's. It's a lot of people that need doulas right now. So if you can come in right now and show your face, please do so. And please give some more information because this is an everybody thing. I really hate that when we come together for information, people be so weird about speaking with somebody in the same bracket as them or same field as them. It's like we need each other, man. We really do. It was a couple people that were asking about doulas. This is one of the reasons. Like I said, I'm not versed in anything about being a doula. Number one, and if you're always in a room where you think you know everything, you're in the wrong room. So I really want to be in a room with somebody that understands this, understands it. That means when you were talking about, it was the mamas, it was the aunties, it was the sisters, it was that's what I would call the matriarch, for lack of a better word. You know what I'm saying? That's matriarch energy. And we have to make sure that the people that we're dealing with are okay mental health wise, because you're talking about allowing somebody to come in your personal space and helping you bring your child in the world. So how do you feel about at-home births?
Oh yeah, I'm absolutely fine with at-home births. So a little fun fact about me is I currently I'm on pause as a midwifery student, but I am a midwifery student. And so I've been practicing with midwives, studying under them. And so yeah, I'm completely fine with home births. And I have 2 little girls, and my youngest was actually born at home.
You know what's funny? My son was born in Gulfport, and it was a lot of different kind of weird things they were having down there because I'm not a big fan of Memorial, so we ended up going to Garden Park. And one of the things that they tried to scare us out of was a live birth. Are you familiar with a live birth?
Yeah, are you talking about like, oh, well, I don't know. Tell me about it, and I'm gonna tell you if I know or not.
Okay, so and that's another thing, like when it comes to doulas, I think we should all start learning about is live birth records instead of birth certificates.
Yeah.
Because a live birth is saying that this is a private citizen. It goes way deeper than that. I'm paraphrasing it, but I know that when you're looking at birth certificates, those are bonds put on the babies, and they put little fingerprints on and everything else, and then it becomes a part of their whole system.
Right.
And there's so much more you can dig into that when you look up live birth records versus birth records. And then there was another thing where they gave me a hard time when it came to placenta, because when I asked them to leave my baby on the placenta, for a couple minutes, if nothing else, 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was reasonable. But they cut it immediately when he came out because, and you got to realize everything's going on real fast. But they cut the cord off immediately, like they couldn't just untangle it from around his neck. He's out now. You can untangle it, but they did it because while you're going through all this, is the first time I'm actually just witnessing one of my children being born, and I'm like, oh wow, there's a lot going on. They cut it real fast, and you're so emotional and everything going on that you don't want to be combative right now.
Right.
But I know I wrote up saying that I want him to stay on his placenta for about 15 minutes. So that's another reason why I think that home births are important. Leaving the baby on the placenta is important. Having good energy and people that know who they are is important. Surrounding your baby, like having a baby is a whole ritual within itself. So somebody said that my mother was a midwife, and that goes to a question we had earlier. What is the difference between a midwife and a doula?
So I like to say midwives deal with everything waist and below, and then the doula is everything above the waist. So the doulas are, like I said, the emotional, physical, and informational support. And so midwives are trained clinicians. So they are trained in low risk births. And so we can even talk about obstetricians. They are trained as surgeons. And so they are trained in high risk births and also in surgical births. So like C-sections.
And that's what a midwife does?
So no, that's an obstetrician, but the midwife is a low risk birth. So no type of medical condition that would deem the pregnancy as high risk. So that's all what a midwife can do. And then when it comes to high risk pregnancies and surgical births, high risk and C-sections, then that's when an obstetrician would come in.
Okay. And wow, that's a lot. Like I said, I didn't know that at all. Can you seek a doula for general care from male professionals?
Like I said, now there are some doulas that do general care stuff, and even specifically just walking with someone through, all the way from fertility all the way through end of life. So there's a doula for pretty much every season. It's just a matter of finding one.
I say. And you said there's an app for that, finding a doula?
Yeah, so there's different websites. So you can always do just like a Google search. Google search, I always say you can go to like Facebook, Instagram, and find doulas and stuff like that. But there is actually a website called doulamatch.net that you can go to and see if there's a doula in your area. But I really just like typing in like doula and whatever area you're in, doula, Jackson, Mississippi, and then finding someone that way. And always interview the person that, comes up. I always tell people, you can interview me, but I want you to also interview somebody else, because I don't want to be the only person that you talk to. There may be somebody out there that's better for you. I'm not for everybody. Everybody's not for me. So it's perfectly fine if you don't feel like you resonate with one person to be able to go and, do your due diligence and find somebody else and, interview them as well.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And doulas, and I'm asking a lot of questions. I'm not sure because I'm not, like I said, I'm not in that world. Doulas and midwives, they work together?
So a lot of them do. Really. So usually a doula is somebody who's doing more of the education. So I think a little bit about childbirth education. So a little bit of childbirth education. We talk about nutrition. We talk about like postpartum instructions. We create birth plans. We do all of that. And really, midwives, they do a little bit of that, but just the scope of their practice is they're clinicians. So they're not getting into the emotions and the mental state and all of that stuff, where they do some of that, but they're not as in-depth as a doula may be. So I like to liken it to a doula is more like your best friend. So it's like your best friend that's there with you at birth. And so I know pretty much you from head to toe, your emotions, the things that you're going through. Like me and my clients, we get really, really close. Whereas your midwife is there to help you to deliver your baby. So they usually get there closer to, you being in active labor, versus a doula may be with you from the start of your labor all the way through to the baby is delivered and all of that. So, you have a doula for a longer span of time than you would a midwife. usually when it comes to the birth.
Yes, ma'am. I'm learning something tonight. So, is there anything else teach me something? What else is it about your profession?
So something that I kind of want to go back and touch on when you were talking about the home births and the placentas and stuff like that. My thing, like I feel like every doula kind of has their specialty, the thing that they are, known for, or that they really enjoy. And so birth planning is something that I really enjoy. And one thing, like with the placentas and stuff, you really have to advocate, and especially in Mississippi, you really have to advocate for doing anything with your placenta outside of what the hospital wants for you to do with it. So generally, they're going to cut the cord within 30 seconds to a minute. So that's generally what you see. If you're wanting anything outside of that, so usually a lot of people want the umbilical cord to turn white or to stop pulsating. So at that point, that's when it's so important to have everybody, the mom, the partner, and the doula all on the same page when it comes to that. Because like you said, things happen so fast. Now, if it's a situation where the umbilical cord isn't wrapped around the baby's neck, it's still important to have everybody watching and keying in on what's happening, because you want to advocate, and it's so important to advocate and say, no, this is absolutely what I want. And as long as it's not a medical emergency, there's no reason that they shouldn't be able to honor your wishes when it comes to something like that. And why it's so important, and a lot of people are doing their research and seeing, about the placenta, all the benefits that come from that, is because a lot of the stem cells that are within the placenta, all of that rich blood that's, your baby's blood, when you cut the cord prematurely, all of that blood just kind of drains out of the placenta while it's still attached to the uterus, and it's just blood that's lost. But whenever you do have that blood that recirculates back to the baby after the baby is born, that's giving the baby all of their stem cells. And by giving all of the baby the stem cells, any type of trauma or anything that's happened during the birthing process, those stem cells can free float throughout the body and go to the different places where there was some type of trauma that happened, to help heal those places. And it also is good because it increases the baby's oxygen. And you see a lot of times when they prematurely cut umbilical cords, a lot of times the babies will need resuscitation or may need a little bit of oxygen, but all of that blood that they're losing a lot of times is the reason why. So just allowing the blood to flow to the baby, it also helps to warm the baby up, helps to regulate blood sugars. It just does so many different things. And I am so adamant about, okay, a lot of people will say, I want my umbilical cord to turn white or stop pulsating. My thing is, I want you to know the reason behind why. And that's the reason behind why. Because if you don't know the reason behind it, you can't effectively advocate for yourself. So that's why it's so important to not cut the cord so early. But really, after the placenta has detached from the uterus, at that point, no more blood is flowing through it. So at that point, it's perfectly fine to cut it. But before that, you risk losing blood that's important to babies, and especially Black and brown babies. This blood is being taken sometimes, and the blood is used for cord blood banking, and they're using these stem cells to help other people with other types of issues and things. And so that's why it's important for your baby to have its blood, instead of this blood being given to establishments, and that you're not seeing any type of monetary gain from or anything. And even with the placenta, the same thing with the placenta. They use them for skin grafts for diabetic patients and people with ulcers and all of these different things. But that is the woman's biological property. And so I always tell all of my clients, please make sure that you take your placenta home. I don't care if you throw it away, if you plant a tree with it, if you encapsulate it, just take it home, because it's yours, because they're going to make money off of it. You're not going to get the benefit of it.
Get it in writing. I'm so glad you actually went into about the stem cells. I didn't know how deep we were going to get with it, but this is science, and everybody got a cell phone right now. When you're pregnant, the first thing they do is all this crazy stuff. research a live birth record, research your placenta, and get it in writing. Make sure you get all this information in writing because these people will play with you if they can. They wanted to scare us out of getting a live birth record. They sent a black woman in there. Let's talk about that. They sent a black woman with a paperwork saying, I don't think y'all should push the issue on this, trying to scare us out of doing it.
Right. Yeah.
That's so you can be your own people. So yeah, and then like you said, they'll take those same stem cells and sell it to all sorts of different things for science. Those millionaires, the same way they get your plasma, at the plasma centers, they'll take your plasma and sell it for thousands. Meanwhile, give you $50 for it. So
that's right.
Yeah, it's like I say, you have a cell phone right now. You have unlimited access to information where you can look up the power of placenta. If you're pregnant right now, you should be looking up all these different things. Live birth record, what the reason you want to have placenta. The reason I was talking to midwives or doulas because I really want to, I think, get our people away from the hospital more. But I'm not sure if that's, I don't want to give that kind of information either because like you said, there's other things that's going on with women's bodies, but you also got to factor in for millions and trillions and billions of years they were doing without the hospital.
Right.
So how do you feel about that? Like just the hospital in general, or people just doing jobs just for a job? When you sign up, when you become a nurse or you become a doctor, you take an oath. I think it's the Hippocratic oath. Is that what it's called?
I'm not sure but it's the like do no harm.
Yeah. So I was like, a lot of those people are oath breakers. I watched the video the other day. It was kind of heartbreaking. I couldn't even watch it all the way. But this woman was like begging these people not to take her baby from her. And I've noticed that more and more with conscious people, indigenous people, that they'll love, the more intelligent you are, the more conscious you are, they're going to try to attack you and take your baby or do something to keep you away because, they're not following the normal rules. What you mean the baby can't get these shots? What you mean? What you mean the baby can't do this? You know what I'm saying? So homeschooling, the same way I want to get out of the institution of homeschooling and everything else, I want to get people away from the hospitals. I think that's a real big thing. So
yeah, and what you said about, with shots and everything, that's another taboo subject to talk about as well, because a lot of parents think, well, I have to have my baby get these shots in order for them to go to some type of daycare or to be enrolled in school or whatever. But a lot of states have adopted a religious exemption where you can say, and it can be anything you can say, that you need a religious exemption so your child does not have to have these shots in order for them to attend school if that's the way that you choose. But I homeschool my children. My children were not vaccinated. And if you look, there's a website called justtheinserts.com. And on that website, it has all of the information for the vaccines that are given during birth. So there's 3 that you normally see. So really, I would say vaccines, and then some, they're not actual vaccines, but the 3 things that are given is a hepatitis B vaccine, the vitamin K injection, and then also the erythromycin eye ointment. And so a lot of information about that is readily available on the internet, but a lot of people just don't do their due diligence to realize, what all is involved and what goes along when it comes to these different vaccines, and the things that they are supposed to prevent, where they end up causing a lot more things to happen in the end. And so, like I said, it's called justtheinserts.com. But for, like I said, going back to birth planning, if vaccines is something that you do not want your child to have, put that on your birth plan and make sure that you have it on there in bold so that the staff at the hospital, the nurses, know that you do not want your baby receiving any type of vaccines. And I've heard crazy stories about people that have had birth plans and have said they don't want these vaccinations, or they don't want their baby to get a bath, or they don't want their child to have X, Y, and Z, and it actually happens anyway. So that's why it's important to have somebody having eyes. I always say 4 eyes is better than no eyes. So I always like to tell dad, Dad, can you watch mom at this particular time? I'm about to go over here and watch everything that's happening with the baby while they're doing their newborn screening and procedures and all of that stuff, because I want to make sure the things that you're saying that you don't want or you do want is actually happening. So that's another important reason why it's important to have a doula. And even if you don't have a doula, someone that's trained as a doula, having someone else there in addition to your partner, because that's another set of eyes to make sure that everything is going well with the baby as well.
Yes, ma'am. And you want to be I don't know, man. The state that they got us in right now, is it that bad that we're thinking about, oh, we want to get our kids in daycare, or oh, there's a family dynamic that messed up where we're talking about, oh, well, I don't know if I'm gonna be able, I got to take a shot because I can't put my baby in school.
Yeah.
It's a family dynamic that messed up to where, like, some of the stuff you would think is just rational sense. Is love that far gone? Are we that far desensitized about our own the babies that coming out? Because back in the day, like OJ Yemi, she's in the comments now saying all these different things. I should have brought her on, because, like I said, today's Matriarch Monday, and usually I'm dealing with a more culture and things of that nature. What you're talking about is something that you would think is way more cultural or way more spiritual, the way we're supposed to look at it. And you're telling me that it's business as usual. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people might not feel certain type of way. So this is, I think it's really important to understand what this is, what a doula is, a midwife is. There's no sense in just getting a midwife or a doula that don't have the same spiritual vision or principles or standards as you. So that's real important. Like you said, the placenta, and that was really powerful about the stem cells and everything else. Like, do the research. You got to do research. You're about to have a baby, and if you're trying to find out how to do research to get your baby in daycare, you already lost. I don't need, like, where did the connection? Where do you think we've lost with our people because back in the day, moms, you couldn't get rid of you can't get the baby away from them for about 5 years, so you ain't got to worry about a daycare center and everything else.
Yeah, we've gotten so far away from how things used to be. You know, it's just kind of the day and age that we're in. But yeah, I have so many of my clients that are already trying to get on daycare lists while they're first getting pregnant. And it's because the wait lists are so far out, but you have so many women that have to work in order to support their families. And so realistically, that's something that they need an option for. But it's sad because you have to poison your child at the cost of having somebody to be able to
talk about it. You said you got to poison the child. Let's talk about it. When you said poison the child, what you talking about?
Okay, so with the hepatitis B vaccine, I want to pull up on my laptop. Let me see. I'm gonna pull it up. That just the inserts website. So just the inserts.com. And so hepatitis B is the main vaccination that newborns receive. And so I am going to type in the Hep B vaccine. So some of the warnings on here that comes with it says, it can cause hypersensitivity to latex, apnea in premature infants. Let's see. Let me keep going. Here we go. Adverse reactions. Herpes, meningitis, hypersensitivity syndrome, arthritis, urticaria, encephalitis, tinnitus, vertigo, tachycardia, apnea, let's see, alopecia, migraines, multiple sclerosis, paralysis, seizures, conjunctivitis, muscular weakness, injection site reaction, abnormal liver function, neuropathy, Bell's palsy, optic neuritis. I mean, the list just goes on.
And this comes from what vaccine? What? I mean, we're saying it for layman's terms, because you know JFK Jr. is actually up in office talking about all these same vaccines as we speak. But what particular vaccine are you speaking about right now?
Hepatitis B. So hepatitis B is something that is given. If you don't want it, you have to explicitly say you don't want your child to receive it. But this is something that babies are receiving their first moments of life. This is a vaccine that they're receiving, and these are the adverse reactions that can come from that. I actually have done a lot of research when it comes to vaccines and the correlation between vaccines and sudden infant death. And so a lot of cases of sudden infant death have went back to vaccines. And so a lot of babies are dying because of the vaccines that they receive. Now there's this correlation, and no one has kind of debunked my theory, but I mean the information is out there, but I think this is the correlation that it is. So in Mississippi, we have the highest infant mortality. We also have the most followed vaccine schedule for children. I don't think there's any type of there's no coincidence there. That I feel like that's a huge reason behind it, because you're putting all of these toxins, aluminum, and they have the ingredients on here as well. So that's why I say all this information is on the internet. So they have the ingredients of what's inside of these vaccines, and newborn babies, this is their first moments of life, and they're being injected with amounts of aluminum that could affect a 250-pound male, and these are small babies. And so that's why I think a lot of babies and infants develop a lot of issues as they get older, where it's like autism, skin issues, just so many different things. And I really feel it has a correlation to the vaccines that they receive.
This is crazy. People, especially in Mississippi, they track us in different ways. You remember back in the day, I just realized something. They said, you probably don't know, but you stay around Jackson, Mississippi, Pearl. There's a lot of violence, a lot of crime activity, and everything else. And I realized they made a pipeline system from middle school, high school, whatever. They started sending us straight from. They weren't even sending to Turner School no more. They made. Did you ever ask your husband about Walnut Grove?
Yeah, so we talked about it a little bit. Yeah, we talked about it a little bit.
Yeah,
he wasn't familiar with that though.
Yeah, well, one of these days, look it up. Walnut Grove Youthful Correctional Facility, and look at how they not only were sending juveniles to prison for long periods of time, they were sending some people to prison for things they weren't even supposed to go to prison for. You know what I'm saying? To fund private facilities. So it's a lot that it goes into messing over the indigenous families or the black family, whatever we want to call it. And they also realize that they track our blood too. And that's one of the reasons they attack our blood, especially with are you familiar with like blood types?
I am.
Somebody told me a long time ago, because of my blood type, that's the reason that they attack me a lot. We go to jail a lot, but they won't kill you because they need your blood type around, so they won't kill you. But if you ever notice, every time you go to the county jail, the first thing they do is draw blood.
Yes.
And I'm like, why y'all always drawing blood? I didn't realize, because I was so conditioned for the system to don't even ask questions, that we just allow them to take our blood. You know what I'm saying? We're conditioned to do a lot of different things. And I just say that we just do the research on everything. Like, one, now that we're more conscious, we're in a new age of consciousness, and hopefully the people in Jackson and different areas, Mississippi, Louisiana, all these different places, we're in a new level of consciousness right now. I love the little movements they got right now saying, fuck the streets, you know what I'm saying? Because they don't love you. And they're feeding off of stupidity and ignorance. They're feeding off bar stupidity and ignorance. I say it again. The law for black men is the same thing that the medical system is for black women, and vice versa. So all this is powerful, and everything from studying vaccines. You said don't get the hepatitis. We say C. Don't get it immediately.
Yeah, so I can. I'll talk a little bit more about that. So hepatitis B. The only reason that I would see that a child actually needs the hepatitis B vaccine is if their mom is a carrier for hepatitis B, or if that child is coming in contact with dirty needles or something like that. That's how hepatitis B is actually spread. And so if that's not the case, then your child does not need that. The other thing that they get is the erythromycin eye ointment. So it's a eye ointment that goes into the baby's eyes. And so with that, it's for babies that have come in contact with a vaginal canal of a mom that has some type of STD. So if you do not have an STD, there's no reason for you to get the erythromycin eye ointment. And then the third thing that they normally give is the vitamin K injection. And so the one thing with the vitamin K injection, you know, I say whatever you feel led to do, you do that. But the thing is, if you have a newborn little boy, he will have to get, unless he's born at home, he would have to get the vitamin K injection if he plans on being circumcised. So there are very rare instances of little boys being circumcised without vitamin K. So with the vitamin K, what it does is it helps the blood to clot. But the issue comes in, it's kind of contradictory, because let's just say the baby got all of the blood from the umbilical cord and the placenta. So you have all of those stem cells that are free floating around the body. If you have a vitamin K injection, it stops the free floating of the stem cells, and it causes the blood to clot together. But the reason why you may want to get the vitamin K injection is because there's this thing called vitamin K deficiency bleed that can happen. Sometimes it goes undetected, but it's very rare that it happens. But when it happens, of course, it's, you know, horrendous that it happened. But the reason why they offer that or give that is to prevent the vitamin K deficiency bleed, but it's very rare compared to the flip side of it.
We spend so much money. I'm always looking at different statistics and everything. They say we have the highest spending rate and all sorts of different things, and we don't spend money like we do. Like we are the richest people on the planet, and we don't understand that. Like they've always understood. America's always understood the black people in the South, indigenous people in the South, is where all the money comes from, the energy, whatever. And we don't focus on the right things like education and health and things of that nature. When they say health is wealth, that's not an understatement. Wow, you teaching me all these different things, and I'm kind of upset because, okay, I also want to say, should women invest in lawyers? When you're pregnant, we spend a lot of money on things that the baby's not even going to remember, not going to use. I've seen people waste money on so many different things. I think that you should also invest in a lawyer and make sure everything that you want is in writing, so you become a very rich person when them people violate, because they are going to violate. They're going to make it their personal business to play with you in your face. Because, like I said, it's a lot of going on. Everybody emotional. They thinking they got away with it. These people took my baby's placenta and ran with it. Do you hear me? They didn't come in there and give my baby the shots immediately, because I was like, nah, baby, you know what I'm saying? My son ain't going nowhere. They would but my wife, she went through, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 hours of labor, something of that nature, right? In the process of it, we went to sleep, and I fell asleep on the floor in front of the baby's you know, they got the rolling thing, right? I fell asleep in front of it just so, because we were exhausted. I wasn't expecting for them to come in there and sneak in there and take the baby and not tell us nothing. They didn't tell us nothing. I woke up, I went, where's my baby? 17 hours, excuse me. So yeah, no, it's but like I said, I learned so much going through there, because I was researching. We didn't have the internet back then and everything else. Right now, you should take it so serious when you're having a baby, man, to do your due diligence research. Forget those hospitals. If you can, go back to natural births. I should have had OJ Yemi in here, because, and also get you a doula that respects your time and understand or will have to respect it, because some people just, the titles, people run with the titles and be like, oh, I'm this and I'm that, and I'm no, man, do it because you love doing it. Do like if you're into this, do it because you love it and you're spiritual and everything else. Take it serious. Tonight was the opportunity to express how serious it is. And we didn't have enough doulas on tonight. We didn't have enough midwives on tonight. So I hope this inspires a lot of our people. And come to find out, you just educated me that our men can be doulas. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? I thought that was just a sister thing, but I still believe that that's an opportunity for a lot of goddesses to get in an avenue, you know what I'm saying, instead of getting that fake nurse's degree. And because I know a lot of different people in a lot of different brackets, and they'll tell you that, yeah, I don't follow what they do, but I just do what they tell me to do while I'm at the job. When I come home, I use my herbs. Some of these same people that push these vaccines and everything don't let their kids take vaccines.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But also, I think we're dealing with a different mindset of people when our women are talking about, as soon as I drop this baby, I need to drop this baby off and put in daycare. I got to drop this baby off and put in the school. I got to know, in every single tradition and culture, we always say the Black woman is God. That's not a cliche. The first thing we say is the first teacher is the Black woman, and the Black woman demands her respect and everything else. But does she respect her position? She demands respect for the position, but does she respect her responsibility for that position? So I don't even believe in sending our kids to school. And they got me once, shame on me. You can't get me twice. You know what I'm saying? You got me in the hospital. I'm not about to send my baby to the schools. I remember when I was in school, they used to give us shots before our parents knew anything about it. They say, yo, in Florida, they was wicked with it. They'll catch us in 5th grade, but like, yo, in order to go to the next grade, you got to take shots. Everybody doing it. Mm-hmm. Mama don't know nothing about none of this. We don't know what y'all stabbing us with. You see what I'm saying? So, and they've done it so many times. There's a school out here in Tallahassee where they did horrific things to kids. We don't speak about that enough, about all these different schools and facilities that do evil things to kids. And then y'all say the men are out here fucked up. Or our people, I love it when our people are messed up. Do you know what our people been through and still surviving? You know what I'm saying? In survival mode for how long? And these people are poisoning us all around the globe. They're poisoning us. They will actively kill other people, even the people that look like them, to actively try to kill us. So, yeah. I'm not even sure who this goddess is. Justice for Samarita Bates. Maybe that's the woman I saw on social media. Like I say, it was so crazy. I can't even look at it, especially in today's time. Mary Turner was from Mississippi, from Jackson, Mississippi. Mary Turner, or I think she's from the Delta. Her husband was wrongly accused of something, and they took him outside. You know, they did the usual Mississippi Delta thing. You know what I'm saying? Took him outside. They did him dirty. And everybody was scared to speak up for him, even though they knew it was right. They were scared to speak up for him, except for his pregnant wife. And he came out there, and the Black goddess, right? She came out there, and they sacrificed her too. You see what I'm saying? That she was pregnant. And if you look at Mary Turner, when people be out and they celebrating and they be partying, and there's a lot of bots. So I'm realizing there's a lot of people that they've been telling they have no culture, they have no real intelligence about themselves. They just out here flowing with the system, the same system that would tear a woman open and rip the baby out and stomp the baby while she's watching them, stomp the baby, and her man hung up and castrated, and them doing whatever they were doing to her after they done cut her baby out and stomped her baby in front of her. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like Mississippi burning. You know what I'm saying? It's the world is gonna pay for what they've done to us. I say. So justice for all those mothers known and unknown. I say. I should have had Sister OJ Yemi in tonight, because we need real goddesses in here that take it serious, not just when it's convenient or whatever, or when it's gonna make them some money. They got to take it serious and put on for like educating the next generation. None of the vaccines we use, herbs, vaccines, and C-sections, is to prevent births. Oh, none of the vaccines. We use herbs, vaccines, and C-sections. OJ Yemi, I might need to send you the link. You want to come on, OJ Yemi? Let me know. She's an elder. Oh, that's a good call. I'm just gonna get
like even talking about the C-sections. That's another thing. It breaks my heart so bad. So in Mississippi, 1/3 of all births are C-sections, and that is absolutely crazy. And not only are C-sections just hard on the body, it has so many complications that go along with it. Then it's also hard to have a vaginal birth after cesarean. Finding a doctor that is open to you even having a trial of labor to be able to have a vaginal birth after that. And so it really, eliminates options for women. I have seen women that have had C-sections that have for their second child or their third child, they've had a home birth and their home birth was beautiful and they didn't have any complications or anything like that. But a lot of women now are, especially Black women, are looking into doulas or looking into midwives. It's just a matter of, is it affordable for them? Can they afford it? But the thing is, I always say you can afford a crib, a stroller, bottles, all of that stuff, and you have a baby shower instead of, maybe getting all of these gifts. Have your family or friends donate so you can be able to have a home birth or have a doula or something like that. But it's just, we have to be educated as a group of people. We have to be educated on the importance of having a doula. And a lot of times I hear, oh, I'm gonna go to the hospital. I'm not gonna have a birth plan. I'm gonna allow the doctors to do whatever they want to do. But it's like they a lot of times don't have your best interest at heart. That's why you need a doula there with you. So yeah,
Henrietta Lacks. I'm gonna keep on saying, and I might be saying her name here. Henrietta Lacks.
Yep.
It's so many of them. What you just said, it makes no sense. The same way our men got to get checked for getting their manhood took. We say that, so we throw it out there. Yo, y'all, you ain't no man. You got your manhood. We don't say how many of y'all womanhood got took. They didn't took y'all womanhood. They didn't took y'all rights to be mothers. They didn't took y'all right. And now they programmed us to even think that child, like the child thing, is just a burden or a paycheck. It was the first time they said, yo, we taking food stamps out. These people went crazy. Mm-hmm. Of course, the men go. You know why the men were so happy about it? Because we need it again. Oh, you need us again? We feel needed again? We have a purpose? Our work, it's just crazy. OJ Yemi, yo, you might need to come on, OJ Yemi. I didn't want to say nothing because I didn't want to put my people on the spot, but I didn't get my son circumcised. And I didn't because I think that's a ritual. It's a Hebrew ritual. That you start reading out the Bible. I'm not one of them Hebrews. I don't know nothing about none of that. It's none of my business. I'm Temuka. I'm from Florida. If he wants to do that, he'd do it when he grows up. But I didn't trust him in Mississippi. Right. You know what I'm saying? What is your infatuation when you're looking at certain people? They say they cut the flesh off and they eat it. Certain religions, they cut the flesh of them Jews, they go whatever. They cut the flesh off and they eat it, and they do different things to the child. That sounds like a ritual. His first ritual ain't gonna be from y'all cutting on him. You see what I'm saying? It's a ritual for when they slap your baby or do anything. I was trying to prevent all that. I'm not gonna be the word. I already hate Black men enough. I'm not gonna allow, as being a daddy and being right there, I'm not gonna allow them to hurt you more than what you got to be hurt. If he wants to get that kind of surgery and he gets up, you do that earlier. But what is your take on it? OJ even say we should not allow them to circumcise our sons. How do you feel about that?
I absolutely agree. I actually, there was someone that I knew a while back where she had a job to call different pregnant women that were pregnant with sons to assess if they were planning on circumcising. And if so, she would tell them about the things that can be done with the foreskin and all of that stuff when the circumcision happens. So there is definitely a place for all of that. They're doing things with that extra skin. But I am completely, in agreement with our boys do not need to be circumcised. A lot of sexual pleasure is lost from circumcision. And so, a lot of times they try to tell the men that if you're circumcised or if you're not circumcised, you will have issues with infections or, it needs to be clean a certain way and all that. But you do not want to pull the foreskin back because there's a little sheath underneath there that actually protects the penis. And so a lot of the male's pleasure is being taken from circumcision.
I'm glad I stood my ground on a couple things. I didn't know everything, but I stood my ground on some things because it seemed like every chance they got, they attacked my son's penis. He had a fever one time. I'm telling you, as being like this is my second child, but it's my first time being a real dad in the situation. I had a child before when I was younger, and I was in and out of prison and everything else because of the system in general. But this was the first time I made a conscious decision. I'm gonna be a dad. I'm gonna make sure my little guy's straight. And being there step by step, everything they said was attack his dick. I hate to say it like that, but man, the first thing they want to do is stick a catheter in there, and the whole time he was teething. I didn't know this because it's my first experience of just being there step by step and step. He was teething, and the first thing y'all went to was stick a catheter into him as a baby. That's all they ever want to do. So it's like, yeah, that's crazy. You know, keep them away from.
That's right.
We are not aware. Our people are not aware of what it means to bring forth life and how precious life is. And I guess, and she's absolutely right, because some of us, we think because we've lived a couple of years on this planet, we think this is just normal. Y'all should know it by now, right? If it wasn't so, like the most revolutionary thing you can do is have black babies. You know what I'm saying? Have more black babies. You know what I'm saying? Indigenous babies, whatever you want to call them. The most most revolutionary thing you could do is get married and take care of these women and take care of these and come together, especially when you know, think about the history of Jackson, Mississippi, or Pearl, Mississippi. Think about that, everything we fought against, and now they got us doing it to each other. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like right now, you have unlimited information at your fingertips. I love the fact that they say this whole street thing over with, because they went from taking your babies and grooming them for the penitentiary and turning it into a so-called culture. And just because we survive and we survive everything and we make it look good, they done blamed all this on us, like they don't realize what they were doing. I'm not that old, you know what I'm saying? They were doing this when I was in Mississippi.
Right.
They were doing all these evil things. Walnut Grove Youth Correctional Facility, Parchman, Mississippi, Greene County, East Meridian, Wackahut, East Meridian, mentally, it's a lot. Mississippi was hell on wheels, you know what I'm saying? So take care of your babies, man. Like, understand you're a portal, you're a key. You bring things into this world, you bring gods into this reality. Your child is the next whatever, and they're making a very active, they're making a very good shot at trying to stop them from everything they want to be. They're going to take their blood, they're going to give them shots, they're trying to dumb them down, they trying to steal those blood rights from y'all. So please understand how serious this is. Again, I say, look up live births, look up your placenta, look up everything. This money y'all spend on dumbass shoes. People will buy shoes for this newborn baby. They will buy clothes for this newborn baby. This newborn baby's not going to release in 6 months. You're going to spend thousands on a lot of things that you don't need, because that's what the system has fed y'all, but romanticized material dumb shit.
Yeah.
So,
and even when it comes to like doulas and midwives, you know, I always say I'm open to bartering. If there's something that, you know, you have that may be of value to me and you want my doula services, then absolutely I'm open to that. And it's like I want to operate like that because I want women to be able to have access to my services, because they're absolutely needed. They really are. And I'm proud to say, you know, throughout the course of me being a doula, the moms that I have worked with, the majority, I think I've only had one C-section to happen out of all the moms that I've worked with. I haven't lost a mom, haven't lost a baby, thank God. And so we are definitely needed. Doulas are definitely needed, and we definitely are valuable. And not only are we valuable to the moms, but we're valuable to the partners as well. And I always say, like, you know, I want to be able to teach the knowledge that I have to these parents, because I want them to go out and teach someone that may be a brother or a cousin or an uncle or somebody to them that may not be able to have a doula, or just don't have, you know, not in proximity to one. And so all of this knowledge that I have, I'm not trying to gatekeep it. I want to be able to share it freely with other people so that they can go out and help other people. It's like, you know, I just want the knowledge to keep snowballing.
This is an opportunity. Like I said, thank you. If we don't thank you for all the real ones out there that's really out here doing these different things, and we'll make sure the baby is taken care of, that each one of them you bring it in, because we talk, well, like you said, you're not all the way familiar with the matriarch, but then again, you are. And the matriarch is those mothers bringing the baby in the world, and they greeting the baby, and they saying the prayers for the baby. And you know what I'm saying? We don't have to come into this world feeling pain, right? Especially with everything we got going on. We don't got to come. When you're born, you're surrounded by love. Imagine that. And why the fuck do we got to imagine that? You see what I'm saying? Yes. Yeah, man. That shit's crazy. I appreciate you. I know when we go through in Mississippi, a lot of people don't know. You know what I'm saying? I know we go through in the South. You're in Baton Rouge now.
Yes.
Is it better over there?
So it's funny because you would talk to the birth workers here in Louisiana and they would say, we're so far behind. We have so much work to do. But it's like I'm comparing them to what I come from in Mississippi. And I still do all my birth work in Mississippi. But it's night and day difference. Here you can even get a doula with Medicaid. And so a lot of moms in Mississippi are on Medicaid and they're having to come out of pocket for doula services because it's not something that's covered by Medicaid. And there's talk with different legislators and all of the politics and stuff that's going on now for that to change. But of course, that takes time and swaying the powers that be in order for that to happen. But right now, at this point in time, every woman that wants a doula is having to come out of her pocket in order to pay the rate of that particular doula.
You said something earlier, and I don't want to fast forward to that. You said your services. How can we get in contact with you for your services? What are your services?
Yes, so I actually right now, because I have 2 small children, so I have taken a pause now from doing actual in-person births, but I am still doing all of my educating and all of that virtually now. So I have a website and it's called Be Well, BEWELL by BY Candace, CANDACE.com. And so on there, I have birth planning session. So it's a mini childbirth education session because, like I said, in order for you to be able to create a birth plan, you also need to be educated about all of the things that can be thrown at you at the hospital. So we talk about inductions, we talk about C-sections, we talk about vaccines and just laboring, different laboring techniques. What can you do? At what point are you going to go to the hospital? We talk about, are you planning on breastfeeding? We get a little bit into that. So I offer that session. And then the second thing that I offer is a postpartum and newborn and breastfeeding session. And so we cover all of like the warning signs for postpartum. We talk about newborn care, and we also get into breastfeeding and talking about just different recommendations when it comes to breastfeeding and pumping. And this is something that's very important that I want to touch on because it's so important. Postpartum is the most vulnerable time for a woman. Reason being, when you are pregnant, you are going to appointments with either your obstetrician or your midwife, especially towards the end of pregnancy. You are having appointments weekly until you deliver your baby. Once you have your baby, you get sent home, or if you have a home birth, your midwife leaves, and you have more touch points with your midwife in the postpartum phase than you do if you were to birth in a hospital. But for the purposes of this conversation, we'll say you're birthing in a hospital. You deliver your baby, you go home, you don't see anyone for 6 to 8 weeks. You were just getting checked on weekly. Now it's hands off, especially for first time mamas. If you do not have any experience with caring for a baby, you got to care for a baby, know what's going on with them, and then also pay attention to the things that's going on with you. And there are so many things that can go wrong. You can have postpartum preeclampsia that can happen. You can have so many things, aneurysms. I've heard of so many things that have happened traumatic to women, and it's because there's nobody there to monitor them, or they feel that they don't have anyone to kind of talk through all of the things that they're experiencing. And that's another reason why the doula is so important, because the doula, unlike your doctor, isn't saying, okay, hands off, I'm not doing anything with you for 6 or 8 weeks. We are still there, actually in the homes, talking to you, checking on you, and seeing everything that's going on with you, giving recommendations for your diet. We coming in, holding your baby while you nap, or while you run an errand, or while you do whatever. And so to have a doula is so important, and it's so vital to have someone during that 6-week period, because that is one of the most crucial times for a woman, not only physically, but also mentally and emotionally, because especially if you have never been a mom before, you have a newborn baby, it's a lot. And so having a doula is important. I actually think it's more important to have a doula postpartum than it is to have one during the actual birth, because so many things can go wrong. You have so many people holding your hand through pregnancy and there's nobody there postpartum. So that's my little tidbit. Going back to my services. So I offer, the service to talk about like the postpartum warning signs. How do you do these simple things with your baby? Like diapering. Are you wanting to do disposable diapers, a cloth diaper? And we talk about that. We talk about some different things to look out for in the baby. Jaundice, if your baby is getting a rash, we talk about all of that. Breastfeeding, if that's what you wanted to do. We get into the weeds talking about that. The third thing that I offer is a birth trauma processing session. So many women have trauma when it comes to their births, and they hold on to this trauma. And trauma stored in the body manifests it weighs itself in different ways. So you can have a mom that has had a traumatic birth, and later on she didn't process those emotions, and she has different chronic illnesses and all of that stuff. So this is my way to allow you to kind of come in and we talk about everything that happened, to unpack your birth experience, and from there healing for the individual can happen. So I also have a podcast called the Be Well Podcast on YouTube, and on my podcast I allow women to come on to tell their birth stories, and it's basically just me allowing them the opportunity to tell everything that happened with them for their births, because I want them to be able to heal out loud, because healing out loud really does help when it comes to your birth trauma. And even when so many ways birth can unfold, and I've had women that have had so many different experiences to come onto the podcast, and they get to tell their stories. And I just want other women to be able to listen to such an array of stories, because you get filtered stories when you look on the like on YouTube or the internet. You see somebody's like, oh, I had this easy peasy birth, and then you have somebody else that's like, I almost died. It's like we get those things, but we also get the in between as well. So I'm always looking for people to come on. So if anybody is listening and they want to come on, you can reach out to me. My name on social media is at Be Well by Candace. You can find me on Instagram, on Facebook, TikTok, all of those different places. And yeah, I love to educate. That's my main thing. I prioritize education.
Well, you forgot one thing, Goddess.
Yes, what?
You didn't see Cash App.
Oh, yes. So my Cash App is Be Well by Candace. So BEWLLBYCANDACE.
$ first, right?
Yes.
So say it again for me with a $ in front of it.
Okay, so $ BEWLLBYCANDACE. $ Be Well by Candace.
If you appreciate what this guy said tonight, if you appreciate any woman that we might have not said we appreciate before, if you got a mama out there and you didn't get a chance to say thank you, or we're sorry for all the knucklehead things we do and we don't even know what you go through, and we appreciate you and we want to stand with you and support you a little bit, send her a Cash App. Can you please? She works hard enough. Don't make her work for it. Can you please send this guy to something, support this guy, put a smile on her face, buy her lunch, buy her dinner, whatever. Buy her kids something. You know what I'm saying? It's I guess the holidays, if that's what they want to call it, but it's a holiday anytime we come together as a tribe. You know what I'm saying? So OJ Yemi, please text me. I'm gonna send you a free piece, because you had a lot of amazing statements, especially this one, especially diet. Yes, having a baby changes. Having a baby changes your whole being. That is why it is imperative for postpartum doula along with community. Yeah. And I think people don't understand what community is, because they really got us with this weird energy. They raised us with it. They're raising our kids to be baddies. They're raising our boys to be thug. The CIA, every couple of years they come up with a new thing. When I was a kid, it was thug life. Now they got them calling themselves young niggas. You think you don't find that suspicious? Also, you said something about people that in their mind, they be like, they don't know if they're gonna breastfeed or not. If God gave you breasts, they planning for you to breastfeed. Like, stop playing with your womanhood. Don't let these people take your womanhood from you. Don't let them take your divine feminine energy. That is a ritual within itself. You breastfeeding is that divine ritual, mother, sun, crescent moon, and star connection. Don't lose your connection. When you breastfeed that child, it's science. I'm not the doctor. I'm not a science, but you have a cell phone. It's a obsidian screen. You can do all sorts of research. Going back to that research thing, and research what's coming out of that breast milk, going into that baby. The same way you research what's coming out through that placenta, going into that baby, and everything else. The same way we do with that spiritual contract, that ritual when they put that birth certificate on it. Get the live birth, keep your placenta, have the baby at home, get your doula, get your midwife, invest in, and you can't say you can't because you just said your insurance pays for some of these things. And if it doesn't, do not. I know way too many smart dummies that spend a lot of money on Jordans, baby clothes, you know what I'm saying, outside of diapers. But let's just say there's a situation where you can't breastfeed. There's also different things that you can drink. Mother's milk, or I might be saying it wrong, mother's milk, and there's a lot of different teas you can drink the breast milk. But let's just say I hear a lot of vain women. No, that's gonna mess up my breasts. I don't want to. Sure, whatever, right? Hemp milk. Before you put your baby on the retard medicine, formula is going to mess your baby up. All that formula is going to mess your baby up. There's Similac. Go get hemp milk. Hemp milk. You can get it from them in any store. You can order it online. Hemp milk will have your baby's brain so active and moving and hemp milk is like the next best thing to the mother's fresh off the mother's simple. You know what I'm saying? So hemp milk. Please look up hemp milk. So guys, I know we've been talking for about an hour now. I don't want to keep you all night. I don't want the husband to get mad. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about tonight? Anything whatsoever? Like my father's family, she was a newborn and her organs were harvested. I say, yeah. So, other than that, you said you had nothing else for us, guys?
Look, I can talk about this stuff all night, but for now, look, you'll just have to have me back.
Man, listen, thank you for coming. Yeah. We appreciate you for coming. Because imagine we needed a doula. I was that's why I don't know about these new little apps or whatever. We was on what do you call it? The threads. Yeah. And I said something, and I think that's why I said we don't know each other until we have a conversation. Conversation with nation, right? This is Matriarch Monday, and this is an opportunity for any of the goddesses. You don't have to be famous, you don't have to be known, because this is for the known and unknown. That's what we always say, right? This is for the revolutionaries, known and unknown, the spiritual people, known and unknown, the healers and everything else. This is really an opportunity. So the ones that came tonight, which is yourself, you know what I'm saying? Thank you for your time, because I know you're busy. For the ones that didn't, you know what I'm saying? Maybe next time we'll have an opportunity to keep on connecting. Like the guy that just said, connections are everything. Gotta say, and this is OJ Yemi. You most definitely, we might have to get you on another Matriarch Monday with the elders of the night. We have no idea the connection to baby and breastfeeding. It brings mom and baby closer, of course. I say you can use goat milk. There are herbs for assistance with breast milk. I say, and it's healing. Like breast milk is literally healing. We were talking about our babies getting up. You're talking about a vaccine, but your body produces that. You see what I'm saying? Now, if you're out here eating trash and everything else, then that's what you're producing. Everything you've been eating for the 9 months has been. So it's like, if you know you're getting pregnant, we are not in a matrix where you got to be dumb no more. Like, we are free from stupidity. We really are. So, guys, thank you again. Thank you, King, for allowing you to, for trusting me with the space tonight, holding space with y'all tonight. Thank you for all the babies that haven't said thank you. Thank you for bringing them in and speaking prayers of good intentions and giving them good love and something to look at. You know what I'm saying? Not mask and white light and pain. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for surviving the Mississippi streets. You know what I'm saying? And staying positive. And with that, let me see. Have an amazing night, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Every rap is intentional, a reminder that we are all connected, from the cosmos to the core. Welcome back, family, to the frequency.
Here, we honor the stone people, the record keepers, ancient memory.
Tonight, we listen to our elders, the wise women, the seers,